I'll be honest with you, and it's not easy for me to admit this doing what I do. But as I get older, it's getting harder and harder for me to stay in shape. As a guy, I don't think there's anything more frustrating than when you're putting in the work and feel like you're doing everything right, but not seeing results. It's easy for young fitness YouTubers to sit there and say, it's just calories in versus calories out, or all you have to do is eat less and move more. I get where they're coming from because I used to say the exact same thing when I was their age. But I've just turned 37, and over the last few years, I've learned the hard way, as I expect you have, that it isn't that simple. After a certain point, your metabolism takes a big hit and everything changes. There isn't an exact age. You're not sat there blowing out your candles on your 35th birthday when your brain goes, oh, let me just dial down his metabolism a little bit. It's different for everybody, but I wasn't ready to give up on my body. I was determined to find a solution to this problem. And I'm pleased to say I found it. In fact, I found three. So today I'm going to share three things that every man over 35 can do to reset his metabolism and keep it working properly. And no, it's got nothing to do with drinking more water or green tea, taking cold showers, or getting in the sauna. I mean, sure, those things might make 1 or 2% difference, but I expect you've heard all that before, and I know that you're not here for the small 1% wins. But I'm pleased to say that the three things I'm going to share with you today are real game changers. But before we get into all that, if you don't know who I am, my name's Doug, and I've been a personal trainer and a nutritionist for the last 6 years. And I've been specializing in helping men over 35 to get leaner, stronger, healthier, and more confident, all without having to spend hours in the gym or giving up their favorite foods. All right, let's not mess about. First up, we need to fuel your metabolism, and that means changing what you're eating. Because even if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to find it hard to burn fat if you're not eating properly. In fact, you've probably noticed this already. You're eating the same, you're still working out, but it's not paying off anymore. You've hit a plateau, or you've even started putting the fat back on. Well, the truth is there's something critical to revving up your metabolism, but most guys completely overlook it. And no, starving yourself isn't going to work. You see, as you get older, your body naturally starts to lose muscle. And when that happens, your metabolism takes a hit. And this is why it feels like you're doing everything right, but the fat just won't budge. And that's why getting enough high quality protein into your diet is a complete game changer. Now, we all know that protein is what helps you to build and then maintain the muscle mass. But what you might not know is that the more lean muscle mass that you have, the more efficient your metabolism is going to be. But protein has other benefits when it comes to burning body fat, namely that it helps to keep you full. That's because protein is the hardest of the three macronutrients out of protein, carbs, and fat for your body to digest, break down, and process. So it sits in your stomach for longer. And when it sits in your stomach for longer, it actually expands the walls of your stomach, which sends a signal all the way up, don't know why I'm using this hand, to your brain, telling you that you are full. Not only does it take more time to digest and break down the protein, but it also requires more effort. And the more effort that it requires, the more energy it takes. And the more energy it takes, the more calories that your body is burning to do it. And this is why we say that protein is more thermogenic than carbs and fat. The fact that protein keeps you feeling fuller for longer means you're far less likely to snack on the junk and the processed foods. And when you combine that with the fact that it takes more energy, more effort, more calories to break down the protein, you can really start to see why protein is a fat-burning powerhouse. But you don't just want to be eating any old protein. No, you want to be eating the highest quality sources, which comes from lean meats, fish, eggs, and dairy. These are called complete proteins because they contain all 9 essential amino acids, which are the building blocks of life. And we call them essential amino acids because it's essential that you get them through diet. That's because your body doesn't naturally synthesize them. It can't naturally produce them. You want to be aiming to get at least 0.8 grams of protein for every pound that you weigh. So let's say you weigh, I don't know, 180 pounds. That would be 144 grams of protein per day. And I should say, if you are struggling to hit your target through those high quality sources of protein, don't be afraid to supplement with protein shakes or bars. But just remember, the clue is kind of in the name here. Supplements are there to supplement your diet, not to replace it. But trust me, if you start prioritizing protein, you are going to be shocked at just how much easier fat loss is. So that's number one. Make sure that you're eating enough high quality protein every day to fuel your metabolism. Okay, now that we've fueled your metabolism, we need to fix your workouts. You've probably been told you need to do cardio or HIIT training to boost your your metabolism. But that's a complete lie. In fact, there are studies out there, scientific studies, which prove that long runs can lower your testosterone levels. And let's be honest, HIIT training is just an injury waiting to happen. So you might be thinking, okay, well then what is the fix? How do I get my body back into fat burning mode and really ramp up my metabolism? Well, to get the best results, to boost your metabolism and maximize fat loss, we need something that's simple, efficient, and effective. And the answer is resistance training, lifting weights. Because remember what I said earlier, when you focus on building muscle, your metabolism speeds up. And the more muscle you have, the more calories that you burn 24/7. Think of resistance training like an engine for fat loss that keeps going long after you finished your workout. Because it doesn't just burn calories whilst you're exercising, it keeps burning fat long after you've finished. And we call this the afterburn effect. But you've probably heard that before, right? Because let's be honest, it's not exactly new advice. Well, I've got 4 ways that are going to transform your workouts today, and they're going to give you quicker, better results that you can actually sustain. First, you want to focus on compound movements, which are the multi-joint exercises that use the biggest muscles in your body. I'll put the main ones on the screen for you now. You've got squats, deadlifts, lunges, and hip thrusts for your legs, an overhead press, bent over rows, chest press, push-ups, and pull-ups for your upper body. These exercises help you burn the most calories and lose fat the fastest, because the bigger the muscle, the harder your body has to work. The harder your lungs have to work to breathe in that oxygen, the harder your heart has to work to pump the oxygen in your blood to the muscle, and the harder that your muscle has to work to contract the weight that you want to lift. The harder that your body has to work to do all of this, the more calories that you burn. Secondly, you want to work smarter, not harder. You don't need to work out every day, you don't need to spend 3 hours in the gym, and you definitely don't need to do 10 exercises every session. If you do 3 well-structured, 45-minute full-body workouts a week, that's going to be more than enough. In fact, that's exactly what about 85% of my clients do. And this is how I would structure them. So the first thing you want to do is pick 4 to 6 exercises, focusing on the compound movements that we just talked about. Secondly, and this one's really important, you want to use a lighter weight than you normally would. Then you want to do 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps with just 45 to 60 second rest periods between them, rather than the usual 3 sets of 10 that you see everybody else do. Because think about it, if you do 3 sets of 10, like 90% of the gym, you're going to do 30 reps. But if you do 4 sets of 20, now you've done 80 reps. But not only that, you're only resting for 45 to 60 seconds between your sets, rather than the usual 2 to 3 minutes, or let's be honest, 5 minutes, the amount of time that people spend doom scrolling on their phones between set, which means your workouts are going to be more efficient. And sure, you're lifting lighter weight, but now you can do more reps with better form, which means that you're putting the muscles under more mechanical tension that they need to actually grow. So not only are your workouts more efficient, they're going to take you less time, but they're going to be more intense. And think about it, the more intense the workout is, the more calories that you're going to burn. That means you can get in and out of the gym in less time and without compromising the effectiveness of your workouts. Thirdly, you want to be using a principle called progressive overload, which is where you are increasing the amount of volume that you lift each time that you try an exercise. So the way to do this, well, there's 3 ways to do this. You can increase the amount of weight that you're lifting, you can increase the number of reps that you're doing each set, or you can add an extra set. If you don't do that, if you just keep going into the gym and doing the same thing over and over again, which is a very common mistake that I see a lot of guys make, then your muscles just aren't going to adapt. And if they don't adapt, they're going to stop growing. It really is that simple, but the challenge is the consistency. So that's number 2. You want to be doing resistance training at least 3 times a week, focusing on compound movements and progressive overload. Before we get into number 3, if you're enjoying the video, I'd really appreciate if you could do me a tiny favor and just click the subscribe button that should be underneath this video so that we can grow the channel and get this message out to more men. Okay, so we've dialed in your diet and your workouts, but there's one more piece of the puzzle, and most guys completely overlook it, but this one's huge. In fact, I consider it to be the foundation of health, and that's sleep. I used to see health a little bit like a circle with 3 equal parts. You've got your movement, your nutrition, and your sleep. But the truth is, the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that health is actually like a pyramid, and sleep is the foundation of it. Be honest with yourself right now. When was the last time that you got more than 1 solid 8 hours sleep in a row? I get it. You might have young kids. You're probably stressed out your mind working every hour of the day just to make ends meet. I am sure that you would love to get more sleep. It's easy for us to sit here and talk about sleep. It's much harder to actually get it. But here's the hard truth. A lack of sleep is destroying your metabolism. You see, when you're sleep deprived, your body produces more cortisol, which is your stress hormone. And when you have more cortisol in your bloodstream, it tells your body to hold on to more fat. Not only that, and I'm sure you can resonate with this, but bad sleep messes with your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. So it makes you crave that processed junk food that normally you'd be quite happy without. It's a little bit like a 1-2 punch against your metabolism. Less sleep equals less energy and more cortisol, which means less energy for workouts and bigger cravings for junk food. And the result, well, is pretty obvious, right? Slower fat loss, no matter how hard you're working. I think we need to change the way we look at sleep. I think we need to shift our perspective towards it, because the truth is, it's one of the highest leverage activities, things that you or I can do, because it has so many downstream benefits. So, how do we actually go about fixing this once and for all? When it comes to your sleep, I'd encourage you to look at it this way. Tomorrow starts tonight, because all of the things that we just spoke about, stress, hunger, energy, they are all determined by the decisions that you make tonight. So to improve your sleep, we need to consider three things: how well you're sleeping, how long you're sleeping, and how regularly you're sleeping. The regularity is the easiest of the three, so let's just box that off straight away. Pretty much all of the scientific studies show that if you wake up and go to bed at roughly the same time, give or take 30 minutes here or there, you're going to sleep better. So just do that where you can. To improve the quality of your sleep, we want to optimize your sleep environment. So you want your bedroom to be as cold, dark, quiet, and well ventilated as possible. So here's what I want you to do. Get yourself on Amazon and add these three things to your shopping cart: a fan, blackout blinds, and earplugs. None of these are going to break the bank. They're all going to be delivered tomorrow, and they're going to transform the quality of your sleep. And then for ventilation, if it's safe for you to do so, I'd encourage you to sleep with your bedroom door open. Now, let's not compromise our safety. So if it's not safe for you to do so, for you to sleep with your bedroom door securely locked, then all I want you to do is crack open the bedroom window. And then lastly, to make sure that you're getting at least 7 hours of high quality sleep, we need to focus on your wind down routine. This comes back to what we were saying a couple of minutes ago when we said that we wanted to shift our perspective, our mindset towards sleep, because the reality is how long you're sleeping, and to an extent how well you're sleeping, comes down to your nighttime habits. And in my experience, the best thing that you can do here is actually set a bedtime alarm, a time when you're going to start winding down and getting ready for bed. Figuring out your bedtime alarm could not be more straightforward. We want to reverse engineer the process. So to start with, we need a wake up time. Let's say in this example, it's 7 a.m. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 9 hours from that. So that would be 10 p.m. Now, the reason I've subtracted 9 hours is because this is not necessarily the actual time you're going to sleep. This is the time that you're starting to wind down. And it's probably going to take you an hour, maybe even 2 hours to wind down. But at least if we subtract 9 hours, you're going to be getting 8, 7 good hours sleep. And then what I'd also recommend that you do is follow something called the 3-2-1 rule. This is where you stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. You stop drinking 2 hours before you go to bed. And when I say drinking, I don't mean you stop drinking alcohol. I mean you stop drinking everything. And you try and come off your phones, your TVs, your laptops an hour before bed. Let me quickly work you through the logic of that so you actually understand why you're doing it. So eating is a metabolic process, and any metabolic process that your body has to go through is going to raise your heart rate. And think about it, right? When we want to go to sleep, we want our heart rate to come down to a resting level. So when your body is trying to process, break down, and digest a meal, it's actually elevating your heart rate. So by giving your body 3 hours to digest the food, it's giving it a better chance to bring your heart rate down to a resting level. The drinking rule, the 2 hours before you go to bed, well, that's more just to make sure that your bladder is empty before you go to sleep so you're not being woken up and disturbed and having broken sleep in the night. And then the last rule, coming off your phone screens, is because these screens are phones, TVs, laptops, whatever it might be, as addictive as they are, and I know we're all hooked on them, they emit a lot of blue light. And the reason that's a problem is the blue light stops the production of our sleep hormone called melatonin. If you are completely addicted to your phone and you're swiping like a maniac on Tinder or binge watching a Netflix series and you just can't stop watching it, don't worry, there is a solution to that as well. You can get yourself on Amazon and buy some blue light blocking glasses. I have a pair. I wear them every single night. I tend to put them on about 8 p.m. because the idea is that I want to be asleep by 10 p.m. and I wake up at 6 a.m. When you start getting quality sleep, and I'm not just talking about one night here, I'm talking about stringing together consecutive nights of good sleep, you will be amazed, you'll be floored, you'll be gobsmacked at how your brain and your body and your hormones respond. You wake up with more energy, you'll feel less hungry, and you'll finally start seeing the results that you deserve for all the hard work. Sleep is the ultimate metabolism booster, and most guys are compromising it. So there you have it. When you start fueling your metabolism with high quality protein and do resistance training several times a week and prioritizing your sleep, you're giving your body everything that it needs to torch fat and get in the best shape of your life. I really hope you enjoyed this video, but more importantly, I hope you found it useful. But if you are serious about taking your physique to the next level, then click here and watch this video next, because I'm going to take you through my full blueprint so that you can get shredded in 2025. Enjoy.